A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta. In line with World Tourism Day, we are featuring a series of conversations this week with companies and businesses in the travel and tourism industry. Tonight, I'll be shortly joined in the studio by Mandar Sharma, founder of Skytrack, and a conversation lined up with Devendra Parulekar, founder of SaffronStays. Mandar, welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I want to begin this interview by asking you to give us a brief overview of Skytrack, what you do at Skytrack, and the core specialities in India's tourism industry. Adding on to that, if you could also tell us, because India's travel industry has been very dynamic and evolving over the years, how have you adopted, to these long-term shifts? What can you tell us?
Yeah. So Skytrack is, to put it very, very shortly in a nutshell, is a one-stop travel shop. We cater to all and every travel requirement that a client may have, whether it is ticketing, railway, air, holidays, hotels. And when it comes to holidays, we actually tell our clients that we are able to cover pole to pole, North Pole to South Pole, and everything else in between.
Nice.
And yeah, so as far as the evolving landscape in the travel industry is concerned, it's moving at a breakneck speed. We've got clients now coming to us and demanding holidays for destinations which probably it's difficult for people to find on a map. Mm-hmm. For example, Mauritania. Now, how the people don't even know that it's a country that exists by the name of Mauritania, and we've had people going there. Tunisia, Cameroon. These are new places which people are now wanting to go to. Mm-hmm. So this is something that we are finding it challenging to come up with products that cater to the requirements of people in these destinations.
Nice. So tell me, the company was set up in 1990,
yes,
right? And now it has transitioned to a second generation leadership, which
yes,
you are helping, of course.
Yes.
So how has the transition been, and what has been your vision for the company taking it forward?
Well, the company started in 1990 with a staff of 2. It was actually started by my mother. And eventually my father got into the business, and I got into it as soon as I finished my education. And I've grown up in the company, starting from the grassroots level. And so today we are a full-fledged, full-service travel agency with a staff of over 20 people, catering to the travel requirements of our clients, and we are servicing them 24/7. Mm-hmm. Taking forward, actually, we have leveraged a lot on technology, and also with the fast-moving internet and everything that's come in. So we are also leveraging a lot on social media as well. Okay. We have invested heavily into tools that are tech-heavy, and we are training our team to kind of use those tools and deliver the kind of service that clients would expect from us. And so actually we are very, very tech heavy, and so that's where most of our actually investment goes in.
So, the customer today has become very discerning.
Yeah.
Tell me, as a full service travel company, how are you making personalized, offerings for your customers?
Yeah, just to take forward about the tech investments that we have done.
Yeah.
So we have systems in place. Today they say anybody who's got a mobile phone is actually half a travel agent himself,
sure,
because you've got everything in the palm of your hands. Yeah. So we kind of leverage on those technologies and use those to our benefit. Just to give you a case in point, right from the time a client makes a booking or makes a query from us, so he's dedicated one professional to assist them in all their requirements. So right from the time they've initiated a query, till the time they are going on the holiday, till the time they come back, so one person is dedicated to them, and with the means of WhatsApp, and we have our own software which keeps them posted on what's happening, what they're going to be doing the next day, and if they have any issues, they can immediately reach out to us 24/7.
Sure.
So that's something that we have introduced into the company, and that seems to be working well.
Fantastic. Tell me, Mandar, what are the most significant challenges for companies in this industry today?
Okay, challenges is the ever-changing, fluctuating regulations that are coming in.
Okay.
Right now, TC has been introduced a couple of months back, and it's actually quite confusing even to most of us, even to the client as well, to us as well.
Okay.
So there are a lot of pros and combinations, permutation combinations in that are need to be applied, and sometimes we do not know. Although we've got all the regulations, but we do not know where the client fits in.
Right.
So that's something, the fluctuating regulations that we kind of finding challenging. Also the competition. There's immense competition in the travel industry.
Right.
And also the clients, their requirements and their needs seem to be changing with every season. It's difficult for us to kind of see now Gen Z that comes up. They have totally different set of requirements and expectations from a holiday, as opposed to the traditional 40 plus, 40, 45 plus age person who wants to go and goes for a holiday. So we see a 180-degree shift in their requirements.
Right.
So that's something challenging.
And that's a trend that you're observing, like Gen Zs, they are wanting something different,
Yes.
and millennials, they're probably wanting something different?
Yes. So the Gen Zs are now embarking on less explored destinations. Many of them want to go on solo trips, whether male, female, doesn't matter. The number of duration of the holidays is also more. Earlier, whereas opposed to the millennials or the baby boomers, they want to go for a week, maybe 10 days, and again, depending on the destination, maybe for 2 weeks. That's the most. We have got Gen Z couples going to Bali for a month for a honeymoon. So I mean, that's something new. Plus the female travelers who have now started traveling, and they are going solo again to destinations not many people have wanting to go. So we've got people going to Nepal, and we've got people going to Cameroon and Morocco all by themselves.
Right.
And obviously they do their due diligence and their research and everything, but it's up to us to kind of provide them that comfort and the security when they are traveling.
Fantastic. Mandar, our show Leaders of Tomorrow, it is about MSMEs. It's about small and medium-sized businesses. And it's watched by a lot of emerging entrepreneurs as well. Yeah. So tell me, in this sector, specifically, what needs to be done to empower MSMEs in this sector, so that they become more competitive, and perhaps not just in India, but, on the global stage as well, they become competitive? I
think MSMEs, they need to be given easy access to funding and resources. The government and all the stakeholders, they need to take active cognizance of this.
Sure.
Also, there should be adequate training in the digital marketplace. And so that is something that needs to be put a lot of emphasis on. Also, there should be collaborations between businesses that should be encouraged so that innovations and resources can be shared. And finally, I think government needs to from the travel and tourism sector, I think the government needs to do something to promote tourism at a grassroots level.
Right.
There is tremendous potential for tourism to be a big economic booster. I mean, case in point being Kevadia, where we have the Statue of Unity. Sure. I mean, before the statue was up, that entire place was deserted. There was nobody there. And now you've got 4-star and 5-star hotels coming up. Huge employment generation. Now it's on the map, right? And India actually has a huge potential. I mean, just to quote our erstwhile astronomer Rakesh Sharma, when he was there up in space and he was asked by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister then, how does Bharat look like? And he says, Sare jahan se acha. And I couldn't agree with him more, because we have fantastic coastlines, we have fantastic islands, lakes, deserts, mountains, peaks, snow, everything we have. And all the government needs to do is promote it on the grassroots level, because right now the tourism that is happening is mostly, the domestic tourism is largely pilgrimage based.
Right.
So you have huge numbers going to the pilgrimage spots. But other than Goa and Kerala, I'm afraid not many states are taking the initiative to promote, whereas we have wonders in our own country. Right.
Mandar, tell me, how has IDFC First Bank played a role, in supporting growth of your company, maybe in terms of, digital banking? What can you tell us?
Well, IDFC has been instrumental in supporting our financial goals. I think they understand the travel industry quite well, because they've been able to offer us customized solutions to our needs, and have been able to give us access to funds, which in turn has helped us to invest in our technology and or our plans. And I think we need more banks like them, because they're very easy to work with. The ease of doing business and the cost of doing business is quite competitive with them.
Right. And finally, after being in the industry for more than 30 years, your company, what would you say are the key lessons that you have learned? And because we're having this conversation in line with World Tourism Day, what would you like to tell the travel industry at large?
Well, I think that main three, I think I can sum it up in three different points. One is adaptability. We have to be extremely adaptable. Being in the industry for more than 30 years, now we've seen everything come and go. We've seen 9/11 happening and the repercussions of that. We've seen COVID happening. We've seen the plagues and whatnot, and global depressions happening.
Yeah.
And yet we've survived everything. So we have been able to adapt. So that is number one. Number two is, I think you need to bring strong relationships, not only with your customers, but also with your vendors, because they are the ones who are actually supporting you and giving you the products and services that you are in turn offering your clients.
Sure.
So I think that is this thing. And number three is that you also need to be able to embrace change and innovate. We always are on the lookout for the new trend that is coming out in the market, and we evolve our business model accordingly so that we align ourselves to match the customer's needs.
Fantastic. Well, it was a lovely chat. Mandar, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my
Lovely
pleasure.
conversation.
Great. Thank you very much.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. In line with World Tourism Day, in this segment will feature a conversation with SaffronStays. Take a look. Thank you so much, Devendra, for joining us today here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me here.
We're going to have a great conversation on hospitality. Starting with, the segment, it did see kind of a setback, right, during the COVID
Yes.
years. And right now, of course, we are well into 2024. But I just want to get a sense, what are the opportunities do you see in the travel and hospitality sector?
I think COVID was a game-changing year or set of years for us.
Yeah.
It did more to our brand and a company and the business because the segment of private villas or alternative accommodation is no longer alternative any longer. It's actually mainstream. Conventional hospitality industry or hotel, the number of rooms that are getting added as we speak versus the demand that exists for hotel rooms or hospitality, it's, there's a huge gap. And that gap has been readily and most happily being filled in by alternative accommodation.
Right.
Having said that, during COVID, for us, a lot of word of mouth marketing happened because of a lot of the guests who understood the concept of privacy and exclusivity that a villa offers to guests.
Right.
And that's where a lot of groups, families started looking for private villas.
Nice.
In fact, I can safely say that conventional audiences of 5 stars started looking for luxury villas and were open to the idea of staying in a villa over a hotel.
Right.
And COVID did this transformation for us.
Right. So, just picking up from what you said, so we have these 5-star hotels,
Yes.
we have these affordable housing like your Oyos and Airbnb as well. I understand you have about 290 holiday
290,
homes, right?
yes, yeah.
So, do you believe this is an untapped market?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, if you look at the segment, most of these homes are owned by the ultra HNIs, right? And the HNIs also, or the aspirational Indians, want to stay in homes like this, but may not be necessarily wealthy enough or probably not lucky enough to inherit a house, or may not be, or maybe a little more practical to understand that there are difficulties of owning and maintaining a house. So they have not made that investment.
Sure.
Right? But they still want to have or enjoy a holiday in a villa like this. So this segment is only going to explode. And because there is demand which is coming, more supply is coming into the market. So a lot of people who are sitting on land parcels who didn't know what to do with it suddenly have discovered the value of building a private villa because they know there is a professional operator like us who's going to come in and maintain the property and also monetize the property.
Right.
So earlier this was a massive barrier in their minds that if I build one, who will maintain it, who will manage it? And you know, we all know that in the first few years of building a home, you enjoy it and then you kind of lose interest and you stop going.
Absolutely.
But that problem is solved. So I think there's more supply coming in and there is more demand coming in. It's almost like a virtuous cycle which is feeding into itself.
Right. You spoke about alternate accommodation, and I at this point want to understand your business model. So would you call yourself an operator of homestays, or are you an aggregator? How does it work?
Oh, we are an operator. Like any realtor that owns a hotel building, and an operator like a Taj or a Marriott or somebody else comes in as an operator to manage that property. The same way, if you are a private villa owner, we sign a contract, a revenue sharing contract or a management share contract or whatever terms of agreement that we have for a period of 5 or 7 years. And then we operate, run, manage, brand, market, monetize the home. So SaffronStays, for all practical purposes, becomes like an operator. The homeowner takes a backseat and the customer only directs or has interactions with SaffronStays as a brand.
Right. Okay. I also, just before the interview, I was telling you about Leaders of Tomorrow. It's watched by a lot of independent entrepreneurs, smaller businesses. I want to understand, how do smaller businesses, play a role in your supply chain? What role, and in a larger picture, what role do MSMEs play in the hospitality sector?
So right from our, PR agency to our, digital marketing agencies to our facilities management firms that we tie up with, to our vendors who provide us linen, to our vendors who provide us even toiletries. I think we work with SMEs across our entire value chain.
Sure.
And they become an integral part of our value chain. Even the photographers, the video storytellers, everybody. So I don't think I can cut away from this entire chain in any manner whatsoever. I'm dependent on them.
Right. A major catalyst in the tourism and hospitality industry has been technology over the last few years, especially. And, India has also been going through a tech transformation, right? How do you think India's digitization drive is impacting this sector?
At the outset, I must say that the first transformation that happened was again during COVID.
Yeah.
You found that all our villas, earlier none of our villas used to even have Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But what happened during COVID is because the customers started demanding for Wi-Fi in all our homes because they wanted to work from our homes.
Right.
All our villas are now enabled with Wi-Fi broadband. Now you will say, how does this make a difference? It makes a difference because I can now digitize every part of my ecosystem. So my caretaker has an app that he uses to do all his check-in, check-out, all of the processes, the ID verification, everything, right down to my supervisors who operate across properties. They are digitally enabled. My homeowners who want to see their financial statements and check-in details and their numbers of occupancy, and so they have an app.
Yeah.
So pretty much the entire ecosystem is completely now digital.
Yeah.
Now the piece which remains, which is the customer facing.
Yeah.
We chose to stay away from the app, but what we did is we deployed in the last 1 year, particularly ever since ChatGPT and large LLMs have come in.
Yeah.
We've deployed AI bots pretty much for handling everything. So 9 out of 10 customer queries are being handled by an AI bot to 100% satisfaction, and only the real complicated ones are being handled by humans.
Right.
Likewise, 45% of my sales are now handled by an AI bot. So the customer has no clue, that they're talking to an AI bot. And of the 45, there's actually no human involvement in 1/3 of those. There's just nobody, right? So digitization for us is now turned full circle, where earlier when we were purely a disconnect brand, where you come to a villa to disconnect, to now nobody wants to disconnect, they want to remain in touch with the world.
Right.
So we've embraced it wholeheartedly and we said this technology is here to stay. And it's become a game changer for us.
Fantastic. Devendra, I also read that 35% of your workforce are women employees, right? Could you talk to us about that? Was that a deliberate decision?
Yeah, so it's by accident. There's no deliberate action behind it.
Okay.
Between the two of us as founders, Tejas is my wife, so clearly 50% gender, split. Incidentally, out of our 140 employees that we have, 35. You gave the stats correct. 35% are women. But from a leadership team of 15 people, with the top guys, the marketing heads and the acquisition head and finance head and all, 55% are women. So typically converse happens where women are more at the lower end of the organization. You find a lot of women, but due to various reasons, they drop out from the workforce. In our case, it's exactly the opposite. The interesting metric that we also look at is these are our corporate employees who work from our office. But what about the employees of the caretakers at the villa and the staff at the villa? We notice that 20-25% of our staff here are women. And these are all rural, internal villages. So all these 1,000-1,200 people that we have across all our homes, they are all from the local villages. 20% of them are women, and mostly they are cooks and chefs who are, dishing out all the home cooked food that we like to serve.
Nice. Then, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs, or smaller businesses who want to get into the same space as you are, who want to achieve the same level of success as you have in the hospitality industry? What are the 2-3 things they need to keep in mind?
I think as entrepreneurs, the overnight success happens after 10 years. So I think if anybody comes and tells you that you want to become an entrepreneur to get rich overnight, forget it. Okay, you will at every stage of your journey as an entrepreneur, you're going to be facing curveballs coming your way. Today it could be GST, tomorrow it could be some labor issues, third day it could be some issues on sexual harassment cases, within the company. It could be anything. I mean, I'm not saying that all that happened in the organization, but I'm saying there is just so much out there that we don't know of. There are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and there are unknown unknowns. And as an entrepreneur, the only trait or 2 traits that you need to have. One, figure out ability, which is whatever curveball comes our way or my way, I'll be able to figure out my way out. And second, which is a flip side of how figure out ability comes in, is grit and determination to just lage raho munna bhai.
Absolutely.
Just be there, hang on, your time will come, right? But it's not a 2-year, 3-year story. TV channels and the print media always celebrate the unicorns who have made it in 3 years, 4 years, and rarely talk about successful entrepreneurs who have hung on for 20 years and then eventually built mega fortunes and mega businesses. But that's the compounding effect is the way to go.
I agree. Finally, tell me, what is your vision for SaffronStays going forward? Do you have expansion plans? What can you tell us?
So, my dream for the company SaffronStays is to leave behind a legacy in the space of hospitality, to be known as the finest in this space, to build out a luxury brand, a homegrown India-based luxury brand, which will eventually be across the world, for all of us Indians who are traveling across the world to stay in a SaffronStays home, where we will give you Indian food, where we will give you Indian hospitality so that you don't miss home, but it will be available every corner of the world at some stage, someday.
Well, I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.